Tonight on Cronkite News, both campaigns are making back-to-back stops in Arizona. We'll have the latest on candidates visiting our state.
Plus, a closer look at ballot proposition that could change the current voting system in Arizona.
And the preparations for the 2025 Waste Management Phoenix Open has begun with some changes from last year. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Jalen Weathers.
And I'm Sam Dayton. Thank you for joining us.
We are less than 2 weeks away from the November 5th general election, and both campaigns are making their stops in Arizona this week. Today in Phoenix, former President Clinton will be hosting an event for the Harris campaign, following a campaign event where he spoke in North Carolina this past weekend. Then tomorrow, former President Trump will hold a campaign event at Mullet Arena in Tempe. This rally will be his 5th visit to Arizona and his 2nd in 2 weeks. We also learned he'll return to the Valley next Thursday for an engagement in Glendale with Tucker Carlson. And that's not all. On Friday, President Biden will speak at the Gila River Indian community, and Saturday, Governor Walz will campaign in Window Rock. So it is truly election season now in Arizona.
Yesterday, both former President Obama and Senator J.D. Vance spoke at rallies for their campaigns. President Obama spoke in Michigan, while Senator Vance spoke here in Peoria and Tucson. An important issue this year for Arizona voters is immigration policy. Here's what they both had to say.
If rounding up and deporting millions of desperate people, many of them who are women and children, if that's the answer to everything, why is it that the number of undocumented immigrants basically stayed the same when he left office as when he took office? He did not solve the problem, and I'll tell you why. Because he does not have a real plan. He has concepts of a plan, and it's a mean and ugly plan designed to make people resentful and angry.
It is not compassionate to open the border and allow the Mexican drug cartels to get rich by selling poison to our citizens. It is not compassionate to allow the Mexican drug cartels to sex traffic children into the United States of America, and it is not compassionate to allow hundreds of thousands of American citizens to die of fentanyl overdoses.
Along with the presidency, Arizona voters will determine how future primaries are conducted. Lauren Bly reports from our Washington, D.C. bureau on why some independent and moderate voters want change from the current system, with Propositions 140 and 133.
In Arizona, early voting is underway, and you're going to see two competing propositions on your ballot. Prop 140 creating an open primary system, and Prop 133 keeping the primary system Arizona has the same. And I talked to some independent voters who feel that without an open primary, they don't have a voice.
In Arizona, we're right up there with the Republicans in terms of numbers of registrants, but I don't have a say in who the candidates are on my November ballot.
Carrie Sackett, an independent voter, told me that she isn't represented with the current system and thinks that Proposition 140 would be the solution. Right now in Arizona, if you're a registered independent, in the primaries you have to vote on either the Republican or Democratic ticket. That's because independent candidates must collect more than 5 times as many petition signatures to get put on the ballot, which supporters say creates greater hurdles for independent candidates. Under Prop 140, collecting those additional signatures won't be needed. Chuck Coughlin is a part of the group behind 140, or the Make Elections Fair Act, and believes this initiative would drive more voters to the polls during the primaries.
7% of independent voters participate in a primary. Well, you'll go, well, why is that? Well, they don't want to request a ballot. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. Just give me a ballot.
In an open primary, voters select a candidate of their choosing, regardless of party. It would then be up to the legislature to decide the requirements on how many can advance. If at least 3 candidates make it to the general election, ranked choice voting, where voters rank candidates from their favorite to least favorite, would be used to choose a winner. And Coughlin believes this would create a more competitive general election and offers voters more options.
You may get 2 Democrats running against each other. You may get 2 Republicans running against each other. You may get a Republican and an independent running against each other.
Scott Moosey, the president of the Free Enterprise Club, believes open elections aren't representative.
We believe it reduces choices and options,
which is why he supports Proposition 133.
If you want to be a candidate and run under any recognized party, you can be able to appear on the general election ballot.
And if neither proposition passes, the primary system that is currently in place in Arizona will stay the same. In Washington, Lauren Bly, Cronkite News.
Currently, there are only 4 states that have a primary system where everyone votes in a single primary: Alaska, Louisiana, Washington, and California.
Election workers carry out the heavy task of ensuring proper tabulation of voter ballots. According to Maricopa County, it's going to take 10 to 13 days to obtain final results. Cronkite News reporter Ignacio Ventura is at the Maricopa County Tabulation and Election Center.
Thanks, Sam. Staff here at the center work as hundreds of thousands of ballots arrive. They take part in the election of the 4th most populous county in the country. More than 3,600 temporary workers are being hired to administer this election. In Maricopa County, more than 400,000 people have cast their vote out of an estimated voter turnout of 2.1 million. Maricopa County Supervisor Bill Gates says 51 voting centers will be open by Friday. However, on Election Day, 246 vote centers will be open. Adrian Barunda highlighted the start of tabulating.
You can see here next to us in the ballot tabulation center. That means getting a head start on all those ballots that are going to be coming in early, as well as we get closer to Election Day. With more vote centers opening up this Friday and eventually 246 vote centers that are going to be open on Election Day, we're pretty prepared for all the voters that we're going to see at Maricopa County.
With Election Day being less than 2 weeks away, it is important to remember that the last day to request an early ballot is this Friday, and the last day to mail in a ballot is October 29. In Phoenix, Ignacio Ventura, Cronkite News.
Now, for all you wild golf fans out there, the WM Phoenix Open is finally returning to the Valley in February, from the 20th to the 25th.
And this week, preparations for the Open began with some changes to last year.
Tonight, now we have DeAndre Sanders joining us at the desk. What can fans expect now at the WM Phoenix Open?
Well, it was quite chaotic there last year. DeAndre, tell us about it.
It was, and the weather didn't help. There were several incidents that affected fan experience and safety. Between fans fighting, someone falling from the stands, and players concerned about their own safety, organizers are rolling out several key changes. The changes to this year's tournament includes updates to infrastructure, a smoother ticket buying process, and additional entrants, which will make it easier for the flow of fans, which can reach nearly 200,000 per day to get in and out.
We have a new entrance, which is now our 3rd entrance on golf course, main entrance, and the Princess entrance still remain, but now we'll have one at Greenway Hayden Loop, just past the Frank Lloyd Wright intersection, and we're really excited about that. It gives our fans more options, but it gives us a lot of confidence in our ability to efficiently flow in and out.
The Waste Management Phoenix Open, hosted by the Thunderbirds, is the most sought-after tournament in the Valley, from residents to visitors from out of town wanting to be a part of this amazing event.
Our mantra for 2025 is better, not bigger. And, we have such tremendous demand for this event. It gets bigger and bigger every year without us even trying, it feels like, at this point. And so we've really made a concerted effort to focus inward and make sure that we make the changes to improve this event year over year.
Despite the new measures, the People's Open will still feature a party atmosphere, as the 16th hole will be rocking once again.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Jelly Roll seems to be getting bigger and bigger every passing day. We're excited about him. We locked him in early, thank God we did. And then Luke Bryan on Thursday night with Nate Smith opening. And we'll be announcing Friday and Saturday soon, as well as concert in the Coliseum.
Expect ticket prices to go up and be fully digital. They are also expanding walkways to give fans more space to move around, especially in the high traffic areas. So stay tuned for more information as they continue to build out the venue ahead of February's tournament. And I'll be back later in the show with a full slate of sports news.
Thank you, DeAndre. Coming up next, we have an E. coli outbreak at McDonald's.
That's right, and where the largest outbreak occurred.
Could I get a quarter pounder with cheese?
Sorry, we don't have the quarter pounders at the moment.
How many people were affected, and what items on the menu are the cause? This and more after the break.
Plus, it is heating up again. Stay tuned for your full weathercast after the break.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention reports that there is an E. coli outbreak linked to McDonald's Quarter Pounders.
Nearly 50 people have gotten sick across 10 states. CNN reporter Lauren Scafitti has more on the outbreak.
Could I get a quarter pounder with cheese?
Sorry, we don't have the quarter pounders at the moment.
Denied at the drive-thru. McDonald's Quarter Pounder is making people sick.
Yeah, so this is a multi-state outbreak.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is investigating dozens of cases of E. coli across 10 states linked to the Quarter Pounder. Dr. Rachel Herlihy with the State Health Department says more than half of those cases are in Colorado.
26 cases total. Among those 26, one death has occurred. We know that they're on the western slope. We know that they're in the mountain region. We know that they're along the Front Range, so really throughout the state.
Doctors who diagnose E. coli have to report it to the state. Dr. Herlihy says during the second week of October, they noticed a higher number of cases than normal.
So we reach out to members of the public that have these positive test results and ask them a series of food survey type questions to try and understand foods that they ate leading up to the onset of their illness.
Now they're trying to narrow down what it is about the sandwich that's making people sick.
Onions are certainly being looked at because they're a unique ingredient, the type of onions that are used in quarter pounders, as well as beef is continuing to be investigated as well.
Other beef products at McDonald's, including the cheeseburger, hamburger, Big Mac, McDouble, and the double cheeseburger, are not impacted.
The McDonald's president says you can still get your fix, and maybe even a McFlurry.
Is the ice cream machine working?
Yeah.
You guys are selling ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay, at least there's that.
The investigation is fast-moving and the outbreak is expected to grow. E. coli symptoms usually develop 3 to 4 days after infection. Symptoms include severe stomach cramps, diarrhea, and vomiting.
Boeing union members will vote on a new contract proposal.
And that proposal could end their strike, which paralyzed Boeing's airplane production.
Over 33,000 workers are a part of this strike, which has lasted over a month now. Many of the workers went on a strike because of the loss of their bonuses, pension, and high cost of living. This contract includes a 35% wage increase over 4 years, an annual bonus program, and more. The union is expected to announce the results of the vote Wednesday night.
The United States and G7 allies are sending Ukraine a $50 billion loan package to help them fight Russia. The White House announced that it will be sending Ukraine $20 billion in military and economic aid. The U.S. will dispense the $10 billion of economic aid by December, but Congress still needs to approve the $10 billion of military aid.
We have about 2 weeks or less left in October, and we are still looking at 90-degree weather. What is going on, Sam?
Well, tell me about it, Jaden. I don't want to be sweating in my Halloween costumes this year. We have Keller Brown in the Cronkite Weather Center with more on what we can expect. Keller, hopefully some good news?
I sure hope so. I hope I'm not sweating in my Halloween costume. That is for 100%. Now let's take a look at the Wednesday night planner. Right around 7 p.m. is when it will be 89 degrees. That is right around when the Phoenix Suns tip off their 2024-25 season in Los Angeles against the Clippers. So perfect time to stay indoors and watch some great basketball. Transitioning into the lows for the state of Arizona. 66 degrees. That's starting to be what we want to see as a low in the heart of the valley in Phoenix, and up in Flagstaff and Grand Canyon. 35 and 30 degrees as a low. So if you're out in the early morning, make sure to bundle up in northern Arizona. Now taking a look at the higher temperatures, 97, definitely not what we want to see in late October heading into November. 96 degrees and 94 degrees in Lake Havasu City and Bullhead City. So those Colorado River cities are still in the upper 90s. Transitioning into nationwide, let's take a look at the high temperatures across the nation. 92 degrees in El Paso. That is the closest in terms of high temperature to Phoenix. So our friends in Western Texas, they know what we're going through here in the desert. Now transitioning into the 8-day forecast, right around 98 degrees and 99 degrees for this beginning of this weekend. And as we transition into early next week, I know you guys see that pumpkin emoji right there on Thursday, 78 degrees. That is exactly what we want to see for a nice holiday. So I'm hoping I don't sweat in my Halloween costume, that's for sure. Back to you guys at the desk.
Coming up next, an old mining town that has turned into the centerpiece of a foot race.
That's right, the unique town has been hosting the race since 1990. Find out how this annual event is bringing people around the town together after the break.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X at @CutASU.
Hello, I'm DeAndre Sanders. Today, a brand new season kicks off for the Phoenix Suns. After getting swept in the first round of last year's playoff, the Suns are ready to change the narrative. The Suns finished the preseason with a 3-2 record. Phoenix is looking to revamp their offense under head coach Mike Budenholzer. The team has already shown heavy emphasis on the shooting from the three ball during preseason. As for Suns fans, they are hoping for a healthy season from their Big Three trio. They only played a combined 41 games together last year. The Suns opened the season with back-to-back road games against the Los Angeles Clippers and Lakers. Phoenix's home opener tips off Saturday versus the defending Western Conference champs, the Dallas Mavericks. They'll host one more game against the Lakers before they travel back to LA. And in other Suns news, Kevin Durant turned down a one-year extension for $59 million. Durant stated that his mindset is looking forward to this regular season and making a deep run in the postseason. And now over to a race that features an iconic uphill climb. The Bisbee 1000, set in the old mining town of Bisbee, Arizona. The race includes going up 1,000 of the 33,000 concrete steps of the mine. It is quite the challenge. Our Iman Abraham has more on this unique town and the history of this race.
Bisbee, Arizona is filled with history, as Bisbee's Queen Mine was one of the richest copper mines in history. The mine opened in 1877 and eventually closed in the mid-1970s. Then, the Bisbee 1000 race was founded in 1990, bringing the community of Bisbee together.
I just love the community. You know, when you run up the stairs, there's always the little bands and the people cheering you on. It's just awesome how they come together.
This event is big for this little town, attracting a diverse group of people to participate in this challenging course. However, it is family friendly with kids to adults of all ages. This race is also very competitive, with runners coming from all over to compete. For the last 4 years, Jacob Stewart has won the race, and this year he finished in just under 30 minutes.
We do this event every year just to give back to the community, and these people, like all the people staying in shape running this, like that's an inspiration for us.
Thousands of people have come all across the world to participate in the Bisbee 1000. This annual event has been around for 33 years, as it's a great way to honor the history of this mining town.
150 people, and it went up to 2,000 people at one time. So now they're capping it at about 1,200 people because it got so crowded and so popular.
This year, roughly 1,400 people signed up for the 4.5-mile-long race with 9 flights of stairs, all different ages ranging from 7 years to 70 years old, ready to conquer the great stair climb. In Bisbee, Iman Abraham, Cronkite News.
That is great. I give credit to anyone who completes that to the end. Switching gears to the hardwood, after a disappointing end to the Pac-12 chapter, the ASU men's basketball team looks to turn a new page in the Big 12. The Sun Devils were ranked 12th out of the 16 teams in the preseason Big 12 poll. The Devils open their regular season on November 5th against Idaho State, and they make their Big 12 debut on the road at BYU New Year's Eve. Head coach Bobby Hurley spoke earlier today at the Big 12 Basketball Media Day and provided an outlook for the change of conference scenery.
You know, we're excited about our first season in the Big 12. It's obviously, in my opinion, the best basketball league in the country. Loaded up top and really good depth of really quality programs. So excited to experience all that, just new places I haven't been, haven't coached at, different areas of the country.
Coach Bobby Hurley returns to his old stomping grounds this weekend. ASU takes on Duke this Sunday in an exhibition game scheduled to tip off at 3:30. The two have faced one time before back in 2009, where the Blue Devils came out on top. The proceeds of this exhibition will go to support Duke Children's Hospital. And that's it for today's sports headlines. I'm DeAndre Sanders. Now back to Jalen and Sam.
Appreciate you, DeAndre. Phones these days are getting way too advanced for me, Sam. The digital quality of cameras now have been honestly great.
No doubt, you can get a really great image with your iPhone camera. But after the break, we'll show you what's being called the world's biggest camera and tell you just what it will photograph when we return.
Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
You may not be familiar with megapixels, but a typical phone camera has about 12 megapixels.
But there's a new camera that actually has 3,200 megapixels. The camera isn't for a phone, however, it's for an observatory in Chile. It's the world's largest digital camera, and once it's installed, it will be searching for stars and galaxies far, far away. Crews are putting the finishing touches on the installation now. It's expected to be fully operational next year.
And that is it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Jalen Weathers.
And I'm Sam Dayton. Thank you for joining us.
Good job.
Good show.